Season 1 of Medsplaining is brought to you by Estee Lauder. With 40 years of night repair expertise and 30 years of collagen research, Estee Lauder are the experts in nighttime skincare. We have an incredible story today about one couple's fertility journey. But first, I got to chat with my good friend Marnie about HRT misconceptions. You'll want to stick around for that. I want to tell you about my nighttime routine, which includes two incredible products: Estee Lauder's Advanced Night Repair Serum and new Overnight Treatment work together to transform your skin. This power pair minimizes key signs of aging and helps your skin recover, feel softer and smoother. With these two products, Dream Skin is just one sleep away. I'm really excited. I'm here today with my friend Marnie. She's here to talk a little bit about some stuff that's on our minds, that might be on your mind, things that we're all going through at this stage in our lives. Welcome, Marnie, to Medsplaining.
Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you. So why don't we tell everyone how we first met? It was a long time ago. I think we're going back like almost 25 years.
Well, however long you've been with David.
Yeah.
So our husbands are childhood friends and family friends. And Jen was always my favorite girlfriend of David's.
That's a good thing, because he kind of like, this one kind of stuck.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And also we went to the same public school together, although I didn't know you.
No, we were a couple of years apart.
I don't remember you.
Yeah, we're a couple of years apart. We won't say which direction, but
yes.
but we kind of like grew up adjacent to each other.
Yes, definitely.
But never actually met until our husbands introduced us.
Right. And then we hit it off.
We did.
Yeah. We have a shared trauma bond, so to speak. We both suffered a loss very early on in life that I think people who have navigated grief kind of have that shared bond. So
I agree. I think we sort of come at life from a very common perspective.
Yeah.
Or is it okay if I say?
Yeah,
You lost your dad.
Yeah, when I was 8.
Early in life.
Yeah.
And I lost my sister, not as early, but certainly not at an age where I expected to lose her, because she was only 25. That all transpired around the time that I met you, right? So I think that you were one of the people that I could just, when I lost my sister, I could sort of just see it, that you got it.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows what to say. Not everybody knows what to do, but you really got it.
You just get it.
And then
it's an unfortunate club to belong to, but you either get it or you don't. And you try your best. And we love and appreciate all those people who try their best with people who are going through terrible things in their life. But I think that's something that I always felt like a connection to you about and stuff. And why, and I guess it's your vulnerability that I was always able to relate to and stuff. And I think it's just something that drew me to you. Plus, you're so fun. So.
Well, you're fun. You're fun. And you drag me out to restaurants that I wouldn't otherwise have the energy to go out to. You're like the one who makes me go downtown. The last pick, we'll let it slide. It was pretty good. That was
Matt, by the way.
Okay, well, it's fun. Matt. But I think that like we also then kind of had our kids roughly around the same time.
Yes.
So we both went through what it's like to, raise kids and then teenagers and now young adults. And so that brings with it its own set of challenges.
Give me a screaming 3-year-old any day.
Right.
Yes.
Right. People always say terrible twos. I'm like, terrible twos. Try
terrible
14. 14 when they slam their door and lock you out of the room for 2 straight years.
Yeah.
20 some odd years of friendship. I think we've been through a lot together.
Yes. And I felt, obviously, after 20-something odd years of friendship, I felt very comfortable divulging to you that I was suffering with my perimenopause.
Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
I mean,
look, we both make no secret of the fact that we're perimenopausal. No.
I'm very proud. And I also feel like with that comes great responsibility, and that I share with everybody, like, why aren't you on HRT?
Yeah.
Like, everybody needs to be on it if you can.
Yes.
Obviously.
Which is like, let's be honest, it's most women.
Yes.
It's most women. There's like, I can count on one hand, maybe the people who really shouldn't be on hormone therapy.
Right.
It's really hard to convince people, because I think when you called me, you said, I am really, really suffering. And I don't know. Like,
that last phone call? Yes.
Do you want to tell people the kind of symptoms? Like, what were the things you were
Okay, so it started very gradually.
Because people just think hot flashes.
Right. So it started very gradually. And I would go to my family doctor with like, oh, my mood is kind of feeling low. But then I was stressed about certain things.
Right.
Or I had low energy, and like she would attribute it to other things and whatever. I love my family doctor, but again, she was very resistant to giving me HRT.
Well, to be fair, I don't know if it's resistance. I was a family doctor who also would not even think about HRT because we just don't learn about it. It's left out of medical school. It's literally like a black hole in our medical education, which is tragic, but I can only see that now in hindsight.
Right.
So she was using what was in her toolkit.
Exactly. And then it just kind of over the past couple of years got really exacerbated symptoms. And I've only been on HRT for a week now. So, but in the last little while, it just got super bad. Just super, super bad. And I came to you in a little bit of a crisis, and you helped me and you were there for me. And the difference is unbelievable. Like, just unbelievable. Like, I feel completely different as a person. My family notices I feel completely different as a person. And I just feel bad for people that are suffering.
Yeah, me too. Me too, because they don't have to. I hope that through at least through educating and giving people permission to advocate for themselves, it is okay, believe it or not, it's okay to go to your family doctor and say, I would like to try this.
Yes.
Here's the papers that I've been looking at. Here's the evidence that I've seen. And I understand there are risks. I am willing to accept them.
Right.
Please, let's try this for 3 months and see how it goes.
I absolutely think that you need to be educated and go to your doctor and say, this is what I need.
Because I'll be honest, like, it is within their scope of practice to prescribe hormone therapy.
Right.
I say it every time. If you can prescribe a birth control pill, you can prescribe an estrogen patch and a progesterone tablet. Like, there is no reason you can't.
And the birth control pill is something that I was offered in as a remedy for my heavy menstrual flow and things like that. And that's not something I wanted to do because I don't like the way they made me feel.
Yeah.
HRT is a completely different feeling.
It's a completely different thing, right? Yeah. I mean, like the birth control pill, I often see women who are perimenopausal and they've been started on a birth control pill, and it is in the guidelines. It's in all the guidelines as an option for perimenopausal women. Because it does give you contraception, which is really important because
nobody wants to have a baby at 50.
Not me anyway. Maybe someone does, not me. But it also is really good if your only symptom is irregular periods or heavy periods. Perfect. Really, it is perfect. What I've found through my vast experiences, it is really hit and miss when it comes to managing hot flashes.
Right.
Totally hit and miss when it comes to sleep and mood. There's really no evidence that it really helps with mood. And so that's where it falls short. And I think as doctors, it's not our job to, impose the birth control aspect on someone. I've spoken to lots of patients that are perimenopausal, but their husbands had a vasectomy.
Right.
Or like
they had their tubes tied.
Condoms,
I had my tubes tied.
Right? Or they've had their tubes tied. And they're like, I will take responsibility for my contraception.
Right.
My job is to tell them, look, you can still get pregnant until you've not had a period for a year.
Right.
That's my job. Your job is to then decide what the best option is for you. And I'll tell you the options, right? It might be for a lot of people, it's an IUD with progesterone. That's what I have, a progesterone IUD with estrogen gel. And I'm living my best life on that combination because for me, the heavy bleeding and the irregular bleeding was wreaking havoc on my life. And I am definitely not alone in that, in that aspect of it. But it's not my job to make the choice for you.
Right.
And that's then just looping back to why are so many women not given the option? It's because doctors took the choice away from us for what is actually a very small and questionable increased risk of breast cancer that came out of the Women's Health Initiative. It was a disaster.
When you mention going on HRT to someone who's not on it, the first thing they say, and someone just said this to me the other day, is, oh, but doesn't it cause breast cancer?
Mm-hmm. No, it absolutely does not cause breast cancer at all. Estrogen never caused breast cancer. Let's clarify that right now. And let's be honest, like, okay, so the way we assess risk as human beings is it is far more dangerous to get in a car than it is to get on an airplane. But way more people are afraid to fly, right? Than they are to get in a car. And same with breast cancer and the things that actually kill us as women. So what kills us as women is heart disease, hip fractures, dementia. Those are the things that actually kill us as women. You're 7 times more likely to die of heart disease than of breast cancer.
Right. So give me my HRT.
But it doesn't cause breast cancer. So like, let's just to clarify that. But even if you thought it caused breast cancer, shouldn't you still have the choice?
Right.
If you want to bungee jump, shouldn't you, that's higher risk. You still have the choice to do that. So yeah, I agree.
Women want choices.
Right. But I feel like I got these like magic glasses when I became a menopause specialist, because now I see everything through that lens. And yeah, of course, people could have other things going on. You absolutely want to rule out a thyroid disorder. You want to rule out, a primary mood disorder.
Right.
Like, yeah, you're right. Circumstances, right? If you're very depressed because you've just gone through a major life change, well, absolutely, that could be factoring in too.
Right.
But it also doesn't mean you're not also going through perimenopause or menopause, and it doesn't necessarily mean that a antidepressant will help. Because another thing I explained to you is, antidepressants are a valuable tool, but something not a lot of people know is they need estrogen in order to work properly.
Right.
For our brain to metabolize those antidepressants, it requires some estrogen. And the lower your estrogen levels are, or the more chaotic they are in perimenopause, the less effective those medications are.
There's no way people know that. That is like,
no, they don't know. Yeah. And another little known fact is, no matter what your age, even if you're 20, if you go higher on the dose of antidepressant, you get night sweats as a side effect. So if you're trying to use it exclusively to manage hot flashes and mood, and then you go up on the dose, guess what? You're causing more hot flashes.
Right.
And you may not be improving mood as much. So it can be very valuable. I am absolutely not discounting the value of an antidepressant, but hormone therapy is often far more effective.
And you can always try HRT, and if it doesn't work, you can always go on an antidepressant. You're
not married to it. You can stop it. It's out of your system in 24 hours.
Right.
But you're married to it now.
Oh, I am like in a committed monogamous relationship.
I love it.
With my HRT.
I love it. Thanks so much for joining me, Marnie. It's been
really
great chatting with you. Hopefully we've imparted some of our midlife wisdom.
I feel like we're sharing like our private conversations that you and I have with everyone, and I couldn't be happier.
I'm so happy that you're happy to do that.
I'm happy now.
See you next time. Before we chat with our incredible couple on the pod today, let's talk about another incredible power duo, Estee Lauder's Advanced Night Repair Serum and new overnight treatment. The serum's exclusive night peptide activates skin renewing actions, while the overnight treatment locks in moisture and boosts hydration. Wake up to visibly improved skin. My guests today are very close to my heart. Isrene and Tommy. Isrene came to be my patient when I was working at Sunnybrook Hospital in a clinic called the INDYGO Clinic, which stands for Individualized Care for Young Gynecology Oncology Patients. And this is really where I sort of cut my teeth as a menopause specialist. Isrene came to me after undergoing treatment for stage 3 cervical cancer. She's a survivor, and she and Tommy have now gone on to another part of their journey, a very special one in which they're seeking to have a baby through surrogacy. So we're going to talk about all of that today. Please welcome Isrene and Tommy. So welcome back. I'm really thrilled to have Isrene and Tommy here.
Hi, guys.
So why don't we start by just letting you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves. Who are you? What do you do? What's your life all about?
So, hi, I'm Tommy, and this is Isrene. We've been together for like almost 9 years. Almost close to 9 years, 8 years. I'm an engineer. She's a graphic designer. We just happened, we went to online dating, and then we went on a first date. And then we keep on going, and we got married in 2019.
Yeah. So when we first started dating, I found him online.
You found him?
Yeah, I found him online. So
like on Amazon? Amazon Prime?
On OkCupid, actually.
Wow. So online dating, I mean, this is the way the world's connected people more than ever. So that's beautiful. And when did you know? When did you just know that this was the person you were meant to spend the rest of your life with?
I think I just liked the way he looked, honestly, because that's what you get when you found someone online. And he just felt like home to me. Like, he looks like a golden retriever. So like that kind of feeling where he's not going to like, he's so nice, and like he has such a nice personality. He's like kind to people. So like I was really drawn to that in the very beginning. Yeah. And it's funny because I really like the jacket like he was wearing. I don't know why. Like, it just resonated with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to message him. And you know, like, girls never message a guy on.
Right.
But I did, and thank God.
Well, you made the first move, and here we are.
Yeah.
5 years later.
Yeah.
And, well, 9 years later. 5 years married. And what did you imagine your future, like, in terms of starting a family? Had you talked about that at all? Was that something that you were thinking about early on, or were you like, we have so much time and we're just going to like enjoy our married life a little bit?
We talked about it. I mean, I have 2 sisters and she's the only child. Yeah. So for me, I always imagine we have a big family, like 2, 3 kids. For her,
one's good too.
You know, but you knew that was part of your
this
future.
Is what we're aiming. Actually, the first date we are on, she's like, I'm here for marriage. Are you here for marriage? So there is, I guess we kind of have a very understanding that we want to start a family, we want to have kids.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah.
Well, that's important. You have to know right away that you're on the same page, and the fact that you could be honest about it.
Yeah, for sure.
You're very forthright. You're very pragmatic. It's good.
Yeah.
So then something happened in 2021. Why don't we talk about what was going on at that time in your life? What led you to go for the pap test, and then tell us a little bit about how your life took a turn, an unexpected turn at that point.
So we got married in 2019, and then we were trying to have a child for almost a whole year. And then we went to the doctor, we said, and he's like, oh, don't worry about it, take a whole year. And if it doesn't work out, come back, and then we can get you maybe treatment and see what's going on. And we're like, okay, so we tried a couple months. I'm like, this is not working. Like,
because you were young. Like, at this time, you were 29. 29.
Yeah, 29. And I was like, I still have time, but I wanted a kid because my parents always told us, if you want children, have them early. So I'm like, okay. So we really wanted to have kids. We realized that it wasn't working, so we went to see a fertility specialist.
Okay.
And then we said, hey, it's not working. And she said, okay, let's do some testing. And what eventually happened was she found out I haven't had my pap test for like before
3-4 years.
Yeah, 3-4 years. And then she said, just in case, go get your pap test. And,
because 3 years is a normal interval.
Right. Yeah.
But during COVID,
everything
nobody goes anywhere.
A lot of people fell behind.
Yeah, for sure. And I wasn't too worried because my last one was clear. So I said, okay, sure, no problem. So she did test, and then it was on my birthday, April 12th. We went in, we're going to sign IVF papers. And she was like, oh, so I have news to tell you. Like, your pap test didn't come back clean, and it could be pre-cancer. That's what she said. And then we're like, oh, there's a pre before the cancer. That's still okay. And she's like, yeah, lots of people can still have pregnancies. Like, there's tons of stuff you can do. So she put us through into like Sunnybrook Hospital to get some procedures done, to get maybe another swab or anything like that. So we did that. And then that came back cancer, like full-blown cancer. And we were shocked because we were supposed to be good. Like, I was so young. Like, you hear about cervical cancer, and it doesn't happen to like younger females, right?
Age category.
Yeah, like I was too young for this. That's how I felt.
Right.
But, and also given 3 years before, I was good.
Right.
So within 3 years, they're like, oh, this cancer grows slowly. Like how, I just have so many questions. Like, how did this happen? Who did this to me?
Yeah.
Like, these are questions. I felt a lot of shame. Like, I asked the doctor, I was like, what happened? And she's like, you just don't know. So
statistically, this should not have happened.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And yet
it did.
Here we are.
Yeah. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you went to what we call the colposcopy clinic, is the clinic where they do take a look with a special microscope, basically, at your cervix, and they can use a special substance to highlight any cells that look like they might be undergoing some changes, right? So they do that, and then they do a biopsy.
Mm-hmm.
And the biopsy revealed that this was actually a cervical cancer. Did you know at that point, were they able to tell you how far it had progressed, or
no?
When did you find out more about what the treatment would entail?
Sure. So the first thing she did a LEEP procedure.
Right.
And she said, we're going to burn off a little bit of the sections. And if they get clear margins, that means it hasn't traveled anywhere. And she's like, yeah, you can still carry, no problem. Like, no one was worried at that point.
Right.
And then it came back, margin was not clear. They're like, okay, let's cut a little more. We did the cone biopsy. So it's like a little cone shape.
Yes.
Given a name. And then she said it still was not clear. So
I think during the cone biopsy, you also look at the nearest lymph node.
No, I didn't. Did I?
I think you did.
Okay.
So we go through a lymph node, and then the doctor say
I had
the closest
surgery.
one was full of cancer.
Yeah.
So, and then we say at that point it's kind of confirmed that this is not normal.
But meanwhile, weeks or maybe months are going by here.
I think the whole span was maybe a month and a half.
Right. Yeah. And it was
this
a lot
whole
of
time,
uncertainty.
I can't imagine the anxiety, the uncertainty that you must have been experiencing. Were you Googling?
Oh
yeah. I did nothing but Googling.
Right. And that can often lead to a lot more confusion, a lot more, because everyone's unique case it's individual. And so, wow, okay. And so then they discover that you have the lymph node is positive.
Yep.
And that changes things.
Oh, yeah. They never officially staged us.
Okay.
I just Google, like, what does each stage mean? And it's like a stage 3 because it has traveled away from the original source, but it hasn't traveled to a different organ. So they have taken out multiple lymph nodes on my left side so that they know it's clear, it hasn't gone anywhere. So at least it's contained, like we caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we caught it.
Yeah. But what did that entail? What was your cure? What did that entail for you?
They removed all my organs, basically. So they removed my womb, my fallopian tubes, my ovaries, everything. So we were given a choice, actually, to save my eggs. But during COVID, like, all the appointments, I went by myself. Like, he couldn't come in. All the decisions were really hard to make. And given the time, they said, we can slot you in for a surgery, but we don't know when. So all these things come into factor when we decide what to do. And we decided not to save my eggs, but just save my life. So that's what happened.
Plus, the doctor said that in order to save her eggs, we have to go through the treatment trigger shot.
Yeah, the IVF.
Could take at least extra month.
Yeah.
Like at that time, like what Isrene said, is the peak of COVID. We just want to get to schedule for surgery as quick as possible.
Right.
And then we just didn't really think about her eggs.
Yeah. And we're like, there's other ways to make families. You can do adoption, you can do surrogacy. So we're like, I remember on the phone when the doctor told me, she was like, I'm sorry, but we have to do this. And then the first thing I said to Tommy was, we can always adopt. And like, I just broke down at that moment. But we knew there was other solutions that can be done to have family, like have children. just might not be your average way to do it, you know?
Right. But that's such a clear-headed thought process at such a muddled time. You know, like you must have, and this was all before I met you, because I met you shortly after this, because of course, when they remove your womb, your uterus, and your ovaries, you were now in menopause at 30.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I come in, because at the time, I was running a clinic at Sunnybrook called the INDYGO Clinic, which stood for Individualized Care for Young Gynecology Oncology Patients. I didn't even know that. It's an amazing initiative, specifically to help women like yourself who are faced with menopause at a time in their life when it shouldn't be happening. And in a circumstance where the average, let's face it, the average doctor knows very little about menopause anyway. But then you factor in a young person who has survived cervical cancer. And fun fact, there is absolutely no contraindication to treating any survivor of cervical cancer with hormone therapy. And I want to put that out there for my colleagues, because it's really, really important that if you are going to see people in your practice who have survived cervical cancer, they are not triggered by hormones. And so it is completely safe. Cervical cancer is caused by the human papillomavirus. It's totally different. So it's safe, and it's thank goodness very effective. And what you just reminded me is that, yes, Tommy, you couldn't be part of this because of the COVID pandemic. The one thing you could be part of was our sessions, because they were virtual, which is wonderful. And you were at every single meeting that we had. And I want to tell you, you're one of the only partners, who attended all of your sessions with your wife. You won. You picked him from looks too, and he's got everything else going on aside from looks. Yeah, feeling a little more like your old self again. It has not been smooth sailing.
It was not smooth sailing.
No, I want to talk about like adoption as well, because we went through that route.
Okay,
and we got denied by like every country in the world.
So okay, before surrogacy. Before surrogacy, we go through adoption first.
Yeah.
And we find out that in Canada, in Toronto, it is nearly impossible to adopt a newborn baby.
Yes.
And at that time, we're just not capable to adopt someone who's 5, 6, 7, because we are a kid ourselves. We cannot really just adopt another kid right off the bat. And I think that the system is great. I have nothing against the system, because the adoption system is really catered for the children. They put the children first, and us as parents second. In order to adopt, we have to go through home study, and then we have to go take a course.
Yep, we did an adoption course. We passed that. The book was like this thick. There was a lot of, I think there was a test at the end too.
There's also some sort of test at the end.
And it also depends how far you are from your treatment. They won't even consider you until you've reached the 5-year survival mark, regardless of your prognosis.
Correct.
So that 5 years is applied outside of Canada. So I think in Toronto, they're still willing to accept you, but
if you're looking at international adoption.
If you're looking at international adoption, we try China, Philippines, Thailand, Korea, and they all rejected her because of her diagnosis. And in order for us to apply, it will be 5 years from now.
Right.
And then the search of adoption process is no guarantee. Could be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years.
You put your profile in, and maybe you pray one day you get a call, and there's no updates. And sometimes, let's say you got chosen, you get a new baby, and then the baby will be 2 by the time you pick them up. So it's not like you get the first 2 years with them, or even 3 years. They're with the Crown, or they're with the they're going through legals, a bunch of stuff. So you're missing out on a lot of the younger years where you're able to bond with them. But that's how it is, and they just want to make sure the kid go to a proper family, or a family that is the best suited for them. So that's why they won't give a child that's 7-year-old to a couple like us. They might prioritize that for someone who has an experience, slightly older, maybe retired, had children of their own. They're like, they're empty nesters, and they want someone with experience because these children have a lot of trauma.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, it led you back down the road of surrogacy.
Yes. So I guess about 2 years through the first course studying adoption, and realized that we took the course. Halfway through home study, you realize that we not able to get a newborn baby. Mm-hmm. We will adopt a newborn baby. Mm-hmm. So we kind of look into surrogacy.
Mm. And then you guys did something really amazing, which is you decided to go public with your journey.
Yeah.
You decided to make your search for a surrogate public. And through doing that, you created your own platform.
Yep.
Womb Made for Life.
Yes.
Which I love, and it's so cute and clever. But you're also sort of normalizing and exposing this aspect of healthcare that is so secretive. So few people know about it. And you raise others up through your platform. You're helping other people who are exploring surrogacy for various reasons, whether they be same-sex couples or other couples who have been faced with infertility. And so I myself, admittedly, don't know very much about how surrogacy works in Canada. So this is where you get to Medsplain.
Yeah, okay.
To my audience and to me. Who did you go to have a better understanding of this? And tell me a little bit about how does this work in Canada or in Ontario, I guess?
Yeah.
So I think we have to bring it back to a little bit to the beginning. Is
when we first met you.
Fertility clinics. So there's only certain few of fertility clinics in Canada. There's only maybe top 5. Top 5 in Ontario. So for myself, I just do a Google search, and I happen to find the one that closest to us.
He did all the work.
Very new. They opened it within maybe 5 years. So okay, we see them, and then they kind of explain to us, say, hey, in order to do this, you need to go through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finding an agency, go through counseling, go through lawyer, go through medical check. This is completely new to us.
We didn't know anything about anything. Yeah.
So in order just to create the embryo, I have to go through, even myself, I have to go through.
Yeah, the fertility. Well, it would be a fertility clinic, but focused on you.
Yeah.
Your swimmers.
Yeah.
So we know that Isrene couldn't, obviously, we didn't save her egg, so we had to go through egg donors. And then she would need to, and then I guess.
And how do you get an egg donor?
So we go through our agency, and we met with the owner, and she's very genuine. She actually is 3 times surrogate herself. So she once carried twins. So I think she has created 8 babies throughout her journey. And the way she explained to us how this program works is very transparent. And we just found that, hey, I think we found the right agency. And they happen to also do egg donation. So we go through her program. We met with all the wonderful ladies that were willing to offer the eggs.
Yeah, so they had a public profile. The difference between the place we chose versus the other ones, which we reached out to all of them.
Yes.
And this
we
one
have
was
a very hard time with others.
Very hard time in general.
Each time they only send you 2 or 3 profiles. And then
like
every time turnaround is like a week.
Yeah.
And what sort of information is in that profile?
Like there's a picture of them, their medical history, family medical history,
age,
like
educational background,
everything about them. And
the reason why they want to help.
Yeah, the reason why they want to help.
Excellent.
Yeah. One thing to note in Canada is that egg donors and surrogates, they do this for free. Like they don't make money out of this. They don't make compensation out of this. It's everything reimbursed. So they're honestly doing this out of the kindness of their heart because they want to help somebody have children. Yeah.
Which is amazing, incredible.
Us as IP, intended parents, there's other intended parents from other countries too, like France, Europe.
Yeah, and those
Italy.
places, it's not legal there. So they come to countries like Canada or US to find a surrogate.
And they don't prioritize Canadian
There's
citizens?
There's no prioritization because at the end of the day, is whoever the surrogate choose.
So if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't share your story, you're reducing the odds of someone finding you and then seeing who you are and then matching with you.
Mm.
Whose idea was it to start the social media platform?
Interesting enough, it's my agency. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep. They believe, because there is a shout out to Baden, Not My Tummy. She was like a guest speaker on one of our agencies. Like, they have meetups all the time, and they will bring in people to talk about things. And they brought her on, and she got matched within 6 weeks, which is unthink of, because she went public. So for me and Tommy, we just feel like we are missing out. We're missing out. We're selling ourselves short if we don't do it for ourselves, you know? And we're young enough to do social.
And you're great at it.
Oh,
it's
God.
fun. It's funny. You take us along on your food adventures. You take us along on your travel adventures. We meet your dog.
Yeah.
And you're also, like I said, you're educating people, which is so important, because these are areas people don't talk about.
No.
Don't have a lot of exposure to.
Especially Asian culture, where everybody just don't say anything. We had mostly positive support from our family and friends, but some people, they are like, oh, why are you putting this out there? This is such a private matter of like personal matter. My parents been really supportive. We have been on like other channels too, and they're like, oh, look, it's my daughter, and they'll share it with like my grandparents. Super weird. Yeah, but my parents are really supportive of us being public, because they understand like what it needs to be done in order.
They must be so proud of you.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what made you decide it was the right agency for you.
Yeah.
So there's two types of agency. First, we need two types for most agency out there. First is the egg donation agency, and second one just cater for surrogacy.
Okay.
And for the egg donation agency, other agency, they only send 1 or 2 profile, maybe 3, and then the turnaround time is within a week, which is super slow, because it's only take us like 30 seconds to say, okay, I don't think she's compatible, and then we have to wait for a week. So we arrived at our agency, what Isrene said. They're very clear, very transparent. They don't have any special lock. They show us all of the egg donation of the database.
Like, all the available girls who are willing to be egg donors are all public on the website. There's a detailed one.
Yeah, there's a detailed one which you have password to. But for us, we just started looking. There's more than enough. We can see what she looked like, why she want to do this, what is her height, age, eye color.
Yeah.
And then they are all over Canada as well. Some of them could be in BC, some of them could be in Nova Scotia. And then, funny enough, we actually decided on one lady to be our egg donor. And that in order for her to be an egg donor, she need to get her medical test.
A pop test.
Which she found out hers abnormal.
Yeah.
At that time.
We saved her life too.
So she had to stop egg donation, get treatment. And then we hope she's okay. We haven't heard anything from her after.
Yeah.
But we hope she's okay.
And to circle back to the importance of pap tests.
Yes.
Get your pap test.
Oh my God, get your pap test.
Get your pap test. I don't know what else to say about it. It's simple.
It's quick.
It's painless. It's widely available. Any walk-in clinic can do it. And it is never the wrong choice. If you have a cervix, get a pap test.
That's right.
So then that egg donor had to go and take care of her own health. So did you have a backup?
So we go through again. I think there's maybe another month or 2.
Yeah.
So we found our current egg donor. She's wonderful.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Yeah.
And actually, that's kind of bring back to the decision that we didn't save her eggs, because for those who doesn't know, when you get trigger shot, you get I think she has about 21 eggs. But out of those 21 eggs, only 18 were mature. Out of those 18, is only 11 is fertilized. Out of those 11, only 8 went to day 5, which is the ideal stage to get transfer. But out of those 8, only 6 passed the genetic test.
Yeah.
So now looking back, if we do opt to save her eggs, it would delay her treatment. And there's no guarantee how many eggs we can save.
It could be 0.
Could be 0.
Could be 0. And then we would have delayed, wasted our time.
Yeah.
And looking back, I still stand by what we decided, even though, sometimes I think about what my child could look like biologically, but I think it's more important that
to save her life.
To save my life, yeah.
And you would still have had to go through the surrogacy
Yeah.
process,
Yes.
whether it was your own eggs
Correct,
or a
yeah.
donor egg.
Yeah.
And you just hit the nail right on the head. I mean, a 6 out of 21
Mhm.
Yeah.
is what we call viable, genetically viable.
Genetic pass to go for transfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's like a wonderful number to have.
It's great. That's a good number.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Because you're right. Some people have 0.
Yeah.
Some people have 1,
yeah,
Yeah.
2, maybe.
And that's all your hopes and dreams are on those 1 or 2. And that's insane to think about, especially those are your last 1 or 2.
So then the transfer process, the surrogate process,
Right.
Mhm.
how do you find a surrogate?
You look high, you look low.
The most common question that we ask agency receive, and we did it ourselves too, is, do you have any surrogates waiting for us available? Which is never.
Never.
And then, like you said, we post a video.
Mhm.
We actually talked to multiple surrogate, but obviously they decided to choose another IP that's more suitable for them.
Yeah.
At
Okay.
first, yeah, go ahead.
I want to quickly just talk about that process a little
Yeah.
bit.
Sure.
So in our agency, they do things a little different. Because they're transparent, because the owner has been a surrogate herself 3 times. She knows what these women need.
Mm.
So I don't know what's in other places like, because I wasn't experiencing but my experience was the surrogate will come, or a woman that's wanting to be a surrogate, she comes in and then she gets to look at all the IP profiles.
Mhm.
So in order to make it easier, our agency has a cap. Some don't.
Yes.
Our agency have a cap at around 20 IPs so that she's able to help people get matched faster.
Okay.
The number, I believe in other places, could be like 50, 60. So the odds are a lot less
Okay.
over there. It's like, it's Wild West.
So she's selecting from one of
Correct.
20
Yes.
IPs.
Yeah,
The
she
circuit,
she
yes.
she gets to select. She gets to read everybody's profile. On the profile, they'll have your pictures. You can make a video, and then you can write a whole story about why you're here,
Mhm.
why we need her help, and who we are. And then from that she gets to pick 3 intended parents to talk to. And then from that, so you get to go on video calls with this lovely woman, and then you get to learn who she is, why she want to be a surrogate, her family, her life. And then she ultimately, within, I think from 2 weeks to maybe a month, she gets to decide who she wants to match with. So the whole experience is very emotional.
Mhm.
A lot of roller coasters, because you put yourself out there. You put everything you have out there, pouring your heart out to this person. And then in the chance that she could pick you, maybe you connect better, and you have no idea who the other people are. These are very private.
Mhm.
And she might not pick you. And we were there 3 times.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah. And then it's just devastating, because when you talk to these women about your life and your struggles, you leave a piece of yourself behind with them, and they take it. And you have to kind of collect yourself back after and be like, you want to be able to present yourself again to the next person that might want to help you. So it's like getting over a breakup almost. That's what I would refer to. Yeah. But we went through that process a couple times, like you kind of have to be there for each other for it.
Right.
But at the same time, these women, like, they all say, if I had multiple uteruses, I'll help everybody.
Oh.
But they just can't.
So tell me about a little more about the situations you did eventually have a surrogate, the first surrogate.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that situation.
So we did match with our first surrogate. She lived outside of Toronto, Ontario.
Okay.
So during the first dating phase, which is the 2 weeks that we talked to each other, we Skype, everything was great. She's very responsive. She's very talkative.
Yeah, we have so much in common. It was
great. We even
great.
met with her kids through video.
No red flags.
No red flags. Okay. And then when she had to fly in to do a medical check, this is where something getting a little bit more iffy.
Okay.
Because she lived very remote in Manitoba. Mm-hmm. It took her an hour or 2 hours just to get to the airport. And then there's a lot of costs that at that time we haven't realized anything, but we're still more happy to cover it because she's entitled to it.
Right.
But that's just kind of rolling. This snowball effect just come rolling and rolling and rolling to a point that a lot of stuff just doesn't make sense anymore, because should we submitting receipt or submitting reimbursement that is out of the character? For example, babysitting. But her kid is already 12 and above.
Her oldest was 12. Almost 18. Okay. Yeah, her youngest was like 11 or 12. Yeah. Okay. So they could have, taken care of each other, but it was never talked about. It's I would say a lot of lies in terms of that. And I think her heart might have been in a good place. I want to believe that she wanted to help. She comes from a very traumatic childhood. So for her, she's just trying to make it through the day. And that, I think, got bigger than surrogacy.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
So a lot of her decisions afterwards, like mostly financial reasons, why she did what she did. But I believe when she first came in, she wanted to help people.
And yet you're in this situation where having to decide to pull the plug on that situation
was hard.
Must have been an agonizing decision for you.
We went through all the way before transfer. She was going to transfer
within a week.
So the process for surrogacy is you have to get counseling to see if you're good to go, like you understand the task. You have to get legal so everyone is protected. You'll have to get medically checked to see if you're healthy and all the right things are there in order to sustain a pregnancy. All sorts of things. And we did all of that until the very end. There was like the straw on the camel's back and just broke us. And we said we no longer want to.
So something happened that made the decision.
Yeah.
Inevitable.
Yeah. The trust was gone.
Yeah.
And when that happens, nothing else should continue. Because we are putting our trust in this woman with our baby. She has to carry this baby and she's thousands of miles away and you can't be there for all.
So in as much as she starts out selecting you, I mean,
you have every right to select.
You're selecting throughout the process to make sure this is the right match for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And ultimately the first one was not the right match.
No.
Thank goodness you were able to just continue to continue your journey.
Yeah. We didn't want her to define our journey or have an effect on our journey because it's no longer part of hers.
Got it.
Yeah. We found someone new and she's local and she's like closer to our age. She's actually the same age as me. So it's really cool. Like we get to talk about things. And I think being close is really good because you're able to go to all the appointments.
Yes.
You're able to like order food for her, which is something we want to do all the time. Like we get to like
spoil her.
Yeah, my parents farm in my backyard.
Wow.
And then we give her like vegetables and stuff because like who doesn't love organic, right?
Right.
So like I wasn't able to do that if she was far away. It's gonna get spoiled.
Right.
So these things we really appreciate having someone local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been through one transfer.
We have.
So through surrogacy, there's, I guess, two main type of transfer protocol. First one is natural cycle, where we just let the ladies do build up her own chemical, and then we might assist here and there. Another one is medicated. So what that means is you take a pill that will stop ovulating. Then at the same time, you take progesterone. I can never say that right.
Progesterone. Very good.
Progesterone to help her own chemical to get her womb ready to transfer. So I think the first one we did is I think every doctor will go with Medicaid first.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to control.
Yeah. It kind of it mirrors basically what your natural cycle is going through. So when you're supposed to get estrogen, they give it to you. When you're supposed to get progesterone, they give it to you. They do the trigger shot. So that way they're able to plan out your cycle, and then they're able to guess exactly what date to put the embryo in. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like really interesting how science can do this. But it didn't work for us first time. Yeah.
But like all attempts at pregnancy, you know, not every pregnancy, not every implantation happens, you know, on demand. So that was, you know, one cycle that unfortunately
didn't take.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, we have 5 more.
How do you keep a positive mindset through this?
Therapy. Therapy is very important, people.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's actually one of IP support from our agency. She has drilled me over and over to go see a therapist because I think I'm okay, but I don't think I am. Because sometimes stuff don't hit you until other stuff happens. And then I thought I was able to get past it or anything, but these trauma, they come and they sneak in to times where you don't know they're gonna sneak in, and then it reflects it when there's situation that comes up. So because of her, I went to see therapist, and I really love my therapist. She's very action oriented, because I'm type A, and I don't need someone to hear my feelings. I just want them to tell me, hey, you can do these things to make things better. Or, for example, she said when I get really emotional, I need to think about the facts. Like, what are the facts? What are the concrete things? So Tommy does that to support me. He has such a good EQ. It's ridiculous. Like, nothing phases him. So when I'm really stressed out, he grounds me by telling me facts.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's really, and it's good. Don't shy away from the support.
I think one topic that you talk with your therapist is kind of eyes-opening. Is, remember when you said that, I don't even know if I want to have kids. Remember? And then the doctor said, but you do, because you're in this journey. So I think this is an eye-opener for us. That something that you have to talk through it. Because we'll never talk about this ourselves. And or you never realize that you do want it until...
So what that derived from was, it's so hard. Sometimes I want to give up. Almost every day I want to give up. And it makes me question if it's all worth it. And it just, because we've been hit after one thing after another, just very unsmooth. So I'm like, is this even worth it? Because the mental load and also the anxiety is crippling. Like, you're putting everything you have, or your hopes and dreams, out of your control, in someone else's hands, you know? And you can't control anything. And for someone like me, that's like crazy. So sometimes I get very demotivated. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, is it even worth it? And that's what I told my therapist. And that's why he said, well, if you don't want to do this, you would have stopped. Like, you wouldn't be this far away along. Because, no one's forcing us, you know? Like, I want to do it, but it's just sometimes
we need
hard.
to hear it. I think that's a good confirmation and affirmation.
I think that's really good advice. And Tommy, you know, obviously you're part of this. And what do you do?
My goal is pretty clear. Like, we talk about this. If this doesn't work, I'm okay. But I'm not okay for not trying. So if I can try, I will try. And at the end, like you said, there's no guarantee. Yes, we have 6 embryo. There's no guarantee that any of them will take. But I can live with the fact that. But I just cannot live with the fact that I'm not trying.
Like, you didn't try.
I think that would just kind of eat me alive.
Yeah. And it's such an interesting feeling to know or be prepared for both options at the same time. It's such a wild feeling. It's like, either you can have children or you can't. And they both have to be okay simultaneously at the same time.
Because you could be planning your vacation with 3 people versus 2 people. Even three Christmas stocking or 2.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. And then you're a survivor. Your survivorship is ongoing.
Yep.
And you have this whole thing, this whole big, massive distraction.
Yeah.
How are you?
I think I'm okay.
You're seeing your oncologist now once a year.
Once a year, yeah, which is pretty good.
Yep.
They don't call me. I love it. They
Still
call
have
me.
ongoing
They
support.
call me every like 6 or 8 months to write me prescription, arrange the doses and things like that
for your hormones. Yeah.
But menopause,
you can tell when she's not on the patch. You can tell.
It's like I'm hangry.
24/7.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. Yeah. And I think doesn't matter what age you are. And we should say surgical menopause is actually more severe. The symptoms are more abrupt and more severe. So if you're having an oophorectomy or a hysterectomy, be proactive about making sure that you are going to be on the appropriate symptom management after your surgery. It's really important. Well, I really can't thank you both enough. This is, as you were talking, it dawned on me, I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this subject before so openly, so clearly. Even I have learned so much today from both of you, not just about the pragmatic, the pragmatic day-to-day approach to seeking a surrogate and seeking an egg donor, but what is that actually like to live through? And I know that you have really helped so many people who are going through it now, who may go through it in the future. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you in my life.
Thank you.
And I am really excited to see what the future brings for you.
Yes. Everything crossed.
Fingers crossed. And we'll put your socials so people can connect with you, follow you.
Yes.
You're a lot of fun and follow your journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Medsplaining. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. And if you like this episode, the best thing you can do is tell a friend or rate and review it wherever you listen to your podcast so other women can discover it. And don't forget, if you're listening to this, you may be happy to know that we video every single episode, so you can watch it if you prefer on YouTube. See you next week. Medsplaining is produced by Ghost Bureau. Thank you for tuning in to Medsplaining. While we strive to provide accurate and insightful information, this podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The opinions expressed by our host and guests are their own and should not be interpreted as medical advice. Every individual's health situation is unique, and it is crucial to consult with a qualified healthcare provider regarding your specific concerns and conditions. Additionally, any links, resources, or references mentioned in our episodes are provided for informational purposes only and are not sponsored by Medsplaining. The producers and hosts of Medsplaining assume no responsibility or liability for any actions taken as a result of listening to our podcast. We encourage you to use the information presented here as a starting point for discussions with your healthcare provider. Information and references are subject to change based on scientific evidence as it evolves over time. The hosts and producers of Medsplaining are not responsible for future changes to the information and references and assume no obligation to update based on future developments. Remember, your health and well-being are paramount. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to exploring more topics in women's health with you in future episodes.